Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Luca, or afternoon as such.
Afternoon, yeah, I know it's. I still find it difficult to get used to it, saying that we are live all over the world. So just give me a second. I will connect my headphones. It's Duncan. Good morning, Duncan. Just Duncan, I'm going to make you co-host, so this you can let people in. Okay. Oh, you're off. Can you all hear me properly? And good morning, Vladimira. Actually, funny enough, I met Vladimira for the first time yesterday, as was what the first networking event they attended for like a year and a half. So it's kind of like it's a nice change. So good morning, and nice that you're on the call. Excuse me. Let's get started straight away. And there's a couple of main things that I just want to concentrate your attention on this week. And some of them we talked about it before, and some of them have been kind of a continuation of things that we've been talking about for a while. But if I share my screen, let me just get the news on the first. Okay. Good morning, Stan. Just a couple more. Sorry, just give me a second. Just a few technical things to get right first. Okay. Off we go. Okay, couple of things that are, I would say, pretty big, and they're more of a general nature. But I think it's important to understand the how big this can be for the future. One of them is talking about El Salvador, which we talk about extensively already in this room. But now it has actually taken effect, and Bitcoin is a legal tender currency in El Salvador, and this is the first time this has ever happened, for everyone. And this is, you can see here now. Can you see my screen, by the way? Yeah. Okay. This is obviously an article by Forbes that that everybody knows. So just ignore the prices, but El Salvador and what it is happening there is just the beginning of a movement. So now that the law is into force, and they also El Salvador has invested 150 million fund into Bitcoin for enabling the conversion between Bitcoin and fiat currencies in the nation. They also deliver 200 Bitcoin ATM machines all across the country, so that people can find so it's easier for everybody to transfer the cash into cryptos, and the other way around to use cryptos and get cash out. Now, I believe the cash in the other currency in El Salvador is the US dollar. And so there is going to be an easy transaction between one or the other. Now, El Salvador has made it compulsory for businesses to accept Bitcoin. But from the point of view of the consumer, this gives them just an extra choice. So they can pay in with Bitcoin, or they can pay with US dollars. So it doesn't make any difference for the consumer, and also for the retailer. The only thing that they have to do, they have to provide the possibility of playing with Bitcoin. But from their side, nothing has changed as well, because the payment that they receive, they can accept it in Bitcoin format, or they can accept it in dollar format. So if they don't want to hold interact with Bitcoin, they don't have to, because the app they'd be using on their phone to take the payment will allow them to take the payment in US dollars if they want to, however the customer pays. It just gives them another opportunity to do that. But what does that mean? Not just now for El Salvador, but for the rest of the world, and for other countries that are thinking of going the same way. First of all, everybody thinks that El Salvador could be the start of a movement, so that other countries would follow suit, and then it's kind of like you start the ball rolling, and then it becomes, as more and more countries adopt the same system, becomes a bit of an avalanche. And it's interesting to see. If I go onto CoinMarketCap, they actually got a tab that says countries which allow cryptocurrency as legal tender. Now, obviously, at the moment, there's only El Salvador. Then you can vote to predict which is the next country that you think will adopt, Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency as legal tender. Now, at the moment, apart from El Salvador, the front runner is Paraguay, Venezuela, Anguilla, Panama. And there have been actually two other countries in the news. One of them is actually Panama, and the other one yesterday was Ukraine. Now, in both cases, they're not going the full distance, in the sense that they're not going to adopt Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency as a legal tender, but they are making it a legal currency in a way. So they will allow it in the for businesses to interact with it, and they will allow cryptocurrency exchanges to operate legally in their country. So giving legitimacy to cryptocurrency payments as a mean of interacting, a mean of transferring value, and recognized by the law. And that's very, very important, because it's establishing a legal framework, because at the moment, in many countries still feel that cryptocurrency, using cryptocurrency like you do in the Wild West, there's still no certainty. We operate in a kind of like gray area. You don't know what is possible and what is not possible. And having kind of like clear rules, although they apply only to your country, it is important, and it is important as well from the point of view of businesses that want to operate in cryptocurrency. And so these countries are also hoping to attract foreign investments into their countries by allowing that. Another country also that has gone the same way in terms of making it easier for other companies to set up and operate in the cryptocurrency world is Kazakhstan. And again, we covered that before in this room. But it is a very, very important thing, and also it's very important to talk about the difference between this and what we see in other countries that we're going to cover in a minute. The other big innovation in a country, in a sovereign country accepting Bitcoin as legal tender, is that there are international treaties that stipulate that a country can pay its debts in its national currency. Another country has to accept the payments of the legal tender currency as payment for debts that are owed to them. So this puts now other countries in a difficult position, in the sense that if they have credits, exposure to El Salvador that owes them money, then potentially the central banks must accept Bitcoin now as payment for those debts. That creates kind of like an issue, because obviously Bitcoin doesn't have the same status in the country, so it creates a case in international law as well. So we're seeing the IMF has come out, with criticizing this move by El Salvador, and saying that it will cause more problems than benefits for them. But time will tell. And I know that there are many other countries, especially in South America, that are looking to to go the same way. And I'm waiting to see the effect that this move will have in El Salvador. We've seen already that there are other countries like Honduras, for example, they're releasing Bitcoin ATMs in their own countries, although they haven't modified the legal standpoint. But it is really, really interesting because, as I said before, what is happening now? It's not, we're seeing these. Sorry, I just my internet dropped off. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Let me go back to sharing my screen again. So I'm not quite sure at what point you lost me. But I was talking about the effect that this adoption will have on the international standpoint towards cryptocurrencies. Because I said with this article is very interesting, and I have tweeted. And if you want to, I often, when I read things like this, I tweet them on my Twitter account, which is @LucaChain. So if you want to follow me there, you can see the things that I just put it in the chat box. So you can see sometimes the articles that I tweet about, and you can read them because they're interesting reads. And I try to sift a lot of the news that come out every day and focus on some of the important news to concentrate on. So what I was saying is that these innovations are coming from the grassroots, so from the poorest countries. Sorry, there's somebody I'm getting some background noise. If you don't mind muting yourself. Okay. So it's coming from the countries where the institutions are the weakest, and they are trying to get an advantage by adopting this technology early. In the case of El Salvador, apart from giving them stability from the point of view of having their transaction in a currency that doesn't devaluate, which at the moment we know the dollar is devaluing at a very, very strong rate because they are printing so much of it, and to the point where in the past 2 years they printed about 40% of all the dollars that are in circulation today. So you can imagine that if you were holding dollars 2 years ago, now they would be worth about 40% less than what they were worth 2 years ago. So it gives them a way of having the economy working on something that is more stable. But at the same time, they're open to have two kind of advantages. One is attracting investment in their own countries, because if you think about a lot of people that have made a lot of money with cryptocurrencies and maybe invested in Bitcoin or other cryptos right at the beginning, and now have a lot of unrealized gains, the way that these things are taxed in most countries in the world, they are taxed as, when you sell them, they tax as capital gains, the same as you would have to pay taxes on when you sell a house if you made a profit. The same thing is applied to cryptocurrencies. And by El Salvador choosing it as a legal tender, it means that there are no taxable events due to profits made from cryptocurrency. So you could potentially move there as a tax residence, and then have no tax on your gains on your gains from your cryptocurrency going up in value. And they even put an amount on it, saying if you invest the value of 3 Bitcoins in the countries, you can then have permanent residency in El Salvador. So it's a way of them to attract money. And the other way is that a big part of is thought that about 25% of El Salvador's economy is remittances from people that are working abroad and send money home. Now, often these remittances can attract as much as 30% fees by companies like Western Union, for example, because they're small amounts and the whole process of transferring costs a lot. And so if you think about it, the difference between using something like Western Union or using the Lightning Network on Bitcoin is the difference between paying $20 out of a $50 deposit or paying 0.01 cents for the same transfer. So the value of that, that extra transfer that normally would be taken by Western Union then stays in El Salvador as GDP. And it could be, if it's taken up as method of, transferring remittances from other countries to El Salvador, could mean as much as a 6% increase in GDP for El Salvador. So it's pretty big. It's pretty big even for a small country like El Salvador. And as we know, as more and more countries will adopt this, they are kind of like building a case for how cryptocurrencies are considered. So the difference between a currency or an asset, and it's pretty big, as you can imagine, and everybody is sitting at the window watching this. The other things that I wanted to talk about this morning, and you might or may have not heard about this, that there has been a discussion between Coinbase and the SEC. There were a lot of people. For those of you that don't know, the SEC recently appointed Gary Gensler, which is a very well-known person in the cryptocurrency industry. He was teaching blockchain at MIT, so he knows the industry very well. And he was appointed to the SEC to make some sense of all this and to kind of like regulate the cryptocurrency industry. And everybody saw that as a positive appointment to begin with. But it's becoming, the way the SEC is interacting with, in crypto is becoming more and more aggressive. And this is something that I warned you about for months now, saying that we have to wait for a kind of a backlash from established power against cryptocurrency because they are invading some of the positions of power. Okay. Now, let me explain this. First of all, the SEC, although it's you might think is there to protect the consumer, is really is to protect the industry as a whole. And now, what is this about? This is about Coinbase, which is a company that is on the stock market, is quoted on the stock market in the US, and is regulated by the SEC as such. So they wanted to launch this new product called Lend, where you could deposit your stable coin. In this case, they're talking about the USDC coin, and offer the holders of USDC that deposit this coin 4% interest on their deposits. Okay, so it's a simple product, and similar products are already offered by other companies like BlockFi, like Celsius, like Nexo. So it's nothing new, and it's actually quite low as interest rate as well compared to what you can already find on the market. But so because they work with the SEC already, they went to them and they said, look, we're going to do this. Is that okay with you, basically, to get them preemptively talking to them, before it became an issue. And the SEC basically came back very aggressively saying, well, if you do that, that's going to be considered as a security and we're going to take it to court. Basically, as the Coinbase CEO went back and said, well, can you please give us a framework for this decision so that we know how to operate, and also we know, if it's something that it is going to be applied industry-wide, because there are competitors that already have projects like this, and that you are not taking to court. Now, and they had absolutely no engagement coming back from the SEC, apart from saying, if you do that, don't do that or else. So it really is kind of like bullying tactics from the SEC. But why don't they want to provide a legal framework? Say to a company like Coinbase, what they can or cannot do is simply because by doing that, they will give them the whole sector legitimacy. And once companies know what the rules of engagements are, then it will really open the floodgate for the whole industry. Now, in particular, Coinbase, why they're going against Coinbase? Because what you got to understand in the US, Coinbase now has the same protection for people that have money on their account that a bank has. So you are protected up to $250,000. The same protection you have if you have your money in a bank account in any of the US banks. Now, if you think about it, that with the same protection, a Coinbase is offering basically 4% interest on USDC, which is basically has the same value as the US dollar, just a digital version of the dollar. And where if you have money in a bank account, you will get 0.01% or something similar. Why then would you keep your money in a bank account? If you're talking about savings, obviously, if it's no money, then you need to pay the bills. Why would you keep it in a bank account instead of putting it on Coinbase and getting 4%? So it is although it is a kind of like looks like a small issue, it really is a big issue for the point of view of the financial industry, because they got, they all find it very difficult to fight against that. And obviously Coinbase has already got all the, has got everything in place to take this extra traffic, where the banking industry is still scrambling and trying to get ready for, for attracting a cryptocurrency investing from the customers. It's again, you have to understand again, what is in play, who are the parts that are, fighting for this, and what is the result? I mean, the result of all this, because this is also applies to the SEC case against Ripple. So what they're managing to do with this kind of like heavy-handed approach, they are managing to unite the crypto industry, because now it's not just Ripple against the SEC, now it's Coinbase as well. So you are starting to get also people supporting this fight from all over the crypto industry, because they see that this is not just a company that is dealing against, in the courts for one reason or another, but this is an attack on the whole industry, because we've had Ripple, we've had Coinbase, which is very big because it's already a regulated company. And also we had the SEC going against as well, trying to go against Uniswap, which is the largest decentralized exchange. They're trying to find a way, they're investigating to see if they can go against them, because it's very difficult, it's decentralized. So, but they're trying to see who is involved in the running of this, and trying to see if they can then open a case against some of the developers that are working for Uniswap. So as you can see, they are coming all guns blazing against companies that are in the decentralized finance sector. And I mean, the kind of like the underlying tone is they are trying to protect the financial industry. Okay, so be very aware of this, because I'll say, it being in the crypto at the moment, we're still in the very early days of crypto. We are in the innovators, we are in the innovator zone. We're just entering kind of the early adopters phase, but it is for this reason, and because there are so many risks involved, this is still a very risky investment arena to be in. Although as it gets bigger, as more people get involved, it becomes in a way safer. It's safety in numbers in a way. So more people get involved, more funds, more institutional investors start taking parts in crypto. The more it becomes accepted worldwide, the more difficult it becomes for one jurisdiction, as big as the US is as well, to fight against a whole industry like this. So let me kind of finish. I've carried on rambling for about half an hour. So let me finish. This. Let's stop sharing my screen. Where am I? Stop sharing, and let's get on to taking some questions, I think. because I would really like you to contribute. So letting me know what exactly is important to you right now. Okay, shall we ask some questions? Let's see. Pierre says a lot of worried faces. Okay, have I scared you enough? Okay, guys, anybody wants to you can either unmute yourself and ask questions, or you can type them in the box.
Hi, Luca. It's Carol. I have not opened my trading accounts yet, and I obviously I need to open Binance and potentially Coinbase. Is that? And when I went to, open the Binance account, it came up with an Australian account. Should I use that, or should I use the one that a US link to Binance?
Sorry, where are you in the world?
I'm in Australia.
In Australia, so you should use. Yeah, you shouldn't use the US version. US version of Binance is just for the US.
Okay, so I should use the Australian version.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm hoping it's a simple process.
It should be, although it's kind of like there might be some people have trouble verifying the ID, because you need to verify your ID to be able to deposit and take out cash. So that process, may take a while. So I always advise people to open several exchanges. So if one takes its time opening and allowing you to interact with it, then you can use a different one.
Okay, fine. All right. So Coinbase, Binance as minimum.
Kraken as well. FTX is quite good at the moment. So there are a few. Gemini is another one of the safe ones as well that can be used. Yeah, as long as you have 2 or 3 open, at least, so that you have some options, because I mean, we've seen it with Binance that in certain countries they're trying to stop them operating or trying to ban them. So it kind of make it easier if you have more than one option when you are buying and selling crypto.
All right. Now I have bought a ledger, and I haven't learned how to use that, obviously, because I don't have any accounts yet. I'm assuming that I can put all the data from whichever exchange I have into one ledger. I've got one of the ones that let 80 or 100 accounts or something like that. Would that be
got right? Ledger Nano. You got a Ledger Nano X. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For the ledger, that's something that maybe we can talk separately if you want. But the way it works, Ledger is a decentralized wallet that's mainly based on Ethereum. So really transferring your keys, your coins onto Ledger will incur an Ethereum network fee. So it really depends on how much you are transferring to see if it's worth moving there or not, because at the moment Ethereum fees can be quite high. So if you're transferring a sizable amount, let's say you transfer $1,000 or something like that, that's fine. You can afford to pay $8, $10 for transaction, but sometimes the transactions can be as high as maybe $25, $30. And if you're only transferring $100 worth of coins and paying $30 as a fee, then it doesn't really make sense, So it really depends on how much, how much you've invested in certain coins, if it's worth transferring them off into a wallet, or if it's easier to just keep them on an exchange.
Can you transfer part of a balance into your ledger that you sort of think is a longer term hold, but you want to leave something on the exchange account just for buys and sells?
Yes, of course. You can do it, but just like if you can imagine having 2 physical wallets, you keep some money in one and some money in another. There's no limit in the things that you can do. The only thing I was saying is that it is when we are operating on certain networks, there are transaction fees. So it depends. For example, even on Ledger, you have Ethereum is supported, and also the Binance Smart Chain is supported. So if you use the Binance Smart Chain to transfer, obviously, the Binance-based tokens, that they've got very, very low transaction fees. So it's fine, any amount of token that can be transferred, and it just literally sends in the dollar, and it doesn't cost you very much. Ethereum-based tokens are kind of like expensive to transfer. So that's what I was referring to before. So you need to, that's kind of like you need to watch really what you're doing just to stop seeing your funds being eroded simply by moving them backwards and forwards, you know?
Okay. I've got a lot to learn. Thank you.
That's all right. No problem. That's why we're here. Okay. So what other questions? Pierre say, look, beside cryptos, it's still a good idea to diversify your investment in different countries and currencies, US dollar, GP, pounds, etc., etc. It is imperative to diversify. I always say that crypto should be just a part of your investment portfolio. As for currencies, at the moment, I wouldn't use currencies to store value. Whether US dollar or pounds, but assets, yes, diversify in different assets. So might be property, might be precious metals, different asset classes. It's important to, and also that you're exposed.
Seems to be quite a lot of Wi-Fi issues at the moment. I know I'm having quite a few, which is why I've got my my camera off. Hopefully Luke will be back with us rather soon, because there's plenty of questions to answer now.
Okay, I'm back.
I want to answer a question on behalf of Luca, because it's about precious metals. Dana, I've got a client who's actually just joining our partner community. I'm going to look up the name of their website and drop it in the chat, but they specialize in precious metals, and they do physical gold and silver and other metals. They also do digital and virtual metals. Really, really good guys. So I just can't think of the name of their website off the top of my head, but I will certainly look it up when Luke gets back, and I'll drop it into the chat. Definitely worth looking those guys up. And I think, like I said, they're going to be joining us as level 2 partners. So Glenn and David, their names are, they'll probably be doing their own sort of hourly, maybe a monthly show based on what they do with precious metals and things like that. I think Luke is back.
Yes, can you hear me, guys? Yep. Okay, fine. Let's carry on. Anna, were you saying, are we facing an economic crash, or is it just a temporary setback before a rise? Are you talking about the drop, the flash crash we had recently? I just wanted to know what you are referring to. Because it's funny, again, just have a look at why things happen. And we've had a kind of like a 20% drop in cryptocurrencies across the board a couple of days ago. And it's funny that it actually coincided with with El Salvador. So as El Salvador was kind of like introducing Bitcoin as legal tender, and as they were buying 150 million of Bitcoin on the open market, all of a sudden the markets just crashed with no apparent reason, by quite hard. And obviously when these things happen again, we talked about before about that area that we were looking for. We're looking for kind of like a bull strap. This is what I was talking about. So that's what I'm saying. Keep your eyes open and be careful when you're investing, because these things happen, and they don't happen when people are careful or are worried about prices going down. They happen all the time when people are very positive, very bullish, very secure that we're going to the moon and Bitcoin is going to whatever 10 million in value, whatever it is. And this is the moment when these things happen, and kind of like they try, different people are trying to justify why it's always down because of the futures market. Nobody knows why that happened, and you can't really predict it. So you have to be ready. And if you want to be in this space, you have to know that these things are going to happen on a regular basis. So there are going to be days where you see your whole portfolio going down by 20%, and you turn around and see what happened there. And you can't quite understand why. And there are lots and lots of people that do this as a, from a trading perspective. And what happened on Wednesday is that many of those accounts got liquidated because these people are trading on margin. So they are borrowing money, to buy and sell cryptocurrencies. And when the balance of their account goes below a certain level, what the exchange does, it'll say, look, you either put more money in, or we sell everything you've got to pay for your debt. Okay, and this is done on an automatic way. And what happens is that when there are cases like this, when there are very high volatility, exchanges get they're just like websites, and websites crash. Okay, so what happens is that people cannot get onto their account. Let's say you're on Binance or another system like that, so you can't physically get on the account to put more money on the account to protect your position. And all of a sudden, all these accounts get liquidated. Okay, and it happens with with an alarming regularity, and it's just basically a transfer of money from certain pockets to other pockets. Just put it that way. So if you know that these things are going to happen, and you get ready for it, then you don't get sucked in, because we've had Bitcoin doubling in value this year. But when we look at the statistics and we look at people that bought and sold Bitcoin in 2021, majority of people lost money. So how can you lose money when an asset doubles in price? But this is exactly how you do it. Okay, so one thing is that don't do it. don't trade on margin. Never ever trade on margin in cryptocurrency. So the other question is, okay, one simple question is just, for security reason, would it be wise to use a separate computer for cryptocurrency? Yes, the simple answer is yes. If you have a spare computer, use a computer that you don't use for absolutely anything else. So just use it to interact with your cryptocurrency accounts, and close it down and disconnect it from the internet when you're finished with it, especially if you use hot wallets. So we were talking, Carol, you were talking about a Ledger Nano X. That's a cold wallet. A hot wallet is basically software on your computer, which is more secure than keeping your money on an exchange, but less secure than a cold wallet. And so with a hot wallet, then the security of the wallet depends on the security that you have on your computer. So if you then have viruses and people can get control of your computer, then your wallet is at risk as well. So by limiting the use of a place where you have your wallet to the minimum interaction with the internet, you keep your accounts more secure. So that's the reason why sometimes it is advocated to use a separate computer for cryptocurrency. The other question was, is cryptocurrency trading significantly different from stock trading, or are the trading rules the same? I mean, literally, it is the actual technical details are the same. You buy and sell cryptocurrency as you would buy and sell shares, or we buy and sell forex, and foreign exchange and so on. So it's the same. You use the same platforms. The difference with cryptocurrency trading is that, one, the markets never sleep. So they're open 24 hours a day, 27 days a week. Okay, so it is, if you are trading and if you keep open positions on your account, you can't be in front of the computer 24 hours a day. So you always that volatility risk connected to the positions that you have, and then we got very high volatility. So that's the risk connecting to trading in cryptocurrencies. It can be used to your advantage more than trading, I would say, as for entering positions, and that's good because you can use the volatility to your advantage. But as a day trading, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it because you cannot operate with the same techniques that you use in other markets, like, for example, stop losses and so on, because the market are just too volatile and it would take you out every time. Okay. Any other question? I don't see any here on the news. So does anybody wants to unmute themselves and ask a question? No? No questions? Okay, Duncan, shall we? Oh, Stan, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought I might ask the question, Luca. Just talking about the Nano X, I'm trying to pair my Nano X to the what's the Ethereum wallet again?
Daedalus is the
Daedalus.
Cardano. It's a Cardano wallet.
Yeah, it's taking me days to try and set that up and download, and my computer goes into sleep mode. I can't get that working. And do I need to get it working?
Okay, it depends. It depends if you want to interact with the Cardano. Radek, would you mind muting yourself, please? So just come into the room. We're just getting a lot of background noise. If I can find you. Yes, okay. Yes, it depends if you want to interact directly with the Cardano blockchain. You need a Cardano wallet. So you can do it with Daedalus. So Daedalus it takes a while simply because you have to download the whole blockchain on your computer. So Daedalus keeps the whole blockchain on your computer. And obviously the first time especially it takes a while because there's a large download. But the other option is you can download the Yoroi wallet, which is a light version, it's it doesn't take as long.
Right.
It wouldn't if you have problems with your computer. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
But the good thing is that you can use, for example, the Daedalus wallet in conjunction with your Nano X too. So you have got you can keep your funds in your cold storage wallet and still interact with the Cardano blockchain. So you can stake your coins from inside your cold wallet, which is very good and very safe. You know,
I think that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what Nano X is trying to do. But by pairing them, I'm just watching this download and download and download, and it's like, as you said, it's connecting to the whole blockchain, and it's just taking forever.
Yeah, what I would say, turn it on when you don't need the computer, and you can let it run for a couple of hours, and then so you're not worried because obviously while it's doing that, it's slowing down everything else on your computer. So, but it's the first time. That's the first time. Then it's it's faster. It's faster from then on.
Yeah, I mean, I've just turned it on in the last 10 minutes, right? And it's still trying to connect to the network.
Oh, really? I mean, I don't know if you have any connectivity issues or not, but I say it took a while when I first downloaded it as well, and connected to the network. But now it only takes a couple of minutes when I open it to show my coins in. Okay, that's a good thing, by the way. This now what I wanted to discuss with you, another thing, staking, for those of you that are new maybe to cryptocurrency, are ways of getting rewards on the proof of stake coins that you hold on your wallets. Increasingly, a number of wallets are making it possible now to do that from the safety of your wallet. Because when you do it, and obviously the easiest thing to do is to do it on Binance or Kraken or Coinbase or any of these platforms where it's very easy. But obviously you don't have control of your coins because your private keys are not in your possessions, but they are with the exchange. So there is a counterparty risk. The whole idea behind the blockchain, behind Bitcoin, is to eliminate that third-party trust and that counterparty risk. So ideally, you want to do it from, directly on the blockchain. But doing it, the reason why Binance or the other exchanges have been so successful is because if you were trying to do it yourself with every single blockchain, it's really complicated and becomes almost like a full-time job. So they make it convenient and easy for you to use. But now many more wallets are, like the Atomic wallet, for example, like Exodus, like Ledger. They allow you to do that directly from your wallet and doing it directly interacting with the blockchain. So it's a lot safer, and you can do it easily yourself. From the safety of your own wallet and knowing that your private keys are safe. Okay, let's get another question. Anybody wants to unmute themselves and ask? And by the way, Anna, we need to have a call. By the way, you haven't booked yet, so we can talk about later to get a time so I can get you onboarded. Okay, anybody wants to? Has anyone been tracking Solana? Okay, Andrew. Yes, Solana is a very good project, but at the same time, you know, I want to kind of like open your eyes a little, because we can't just look at crypto projects by looking at the price. Okay, we need to have a look at the fundamentals and what's going on behind the scene. Now, Solana has gone up very much, and it's got the same backers as FTX, by the way. They've gone up very much because they've invested in the two major trends in cryptocurrency, which are, you know, decentralized finance and NFTs. Okay, so they kind of like they put in a lot of their efforts in those two kind of communities. But one thing you got to be careful of: Solana is one of the most highly centralized blockchain. Most of the coins are in the hands of very, very few holders. So be very, very aware when you do that. Okay, and it's, in a way, it's not dissimilar from Binance from that point of view. And also, oops, what is that? Dana, would you? Okay, fine. It's muted. Yeah, and also the other thing is, at the moment, all the price rise has been on hype. And there isn't much that has been delivered yet by Solana. And if you look at behind the scenes, you know, how can you see, for example, the blockchains that are seeing more activity is by seeing how many developers are working on the blockchains. And you can see that by the commits on GitHub, for example, for kind of like public work that developers are doing on different blockchains. At the moment, I mean, top blockchain for work by developers is Cardano. Second one is Ethereum, and then there are other projects after that. But it's interesting to see because it's fine now. It's gone up because of, you know, basically what you're buying at the moment is like when you're buying a company shares, it's kind of like future potential. And that's kind of the future potential of Solana. They has caught the imagination. The market is being marketed very, very well. Okay, but now they are going to start attracting developers and are starting to have to deliver these projects. And the reason why there has been projects on other blockchains, like for example Ethereum, is because there are already products on it. They are working. And when there are products working, obviously you find out bugs and you find out problems that these projects have. Solana doesn't have that yet. Okay, so we haven't seen if the project, for example, decentralized finance, will be hacked or not, if they are safe as, you know, as other blockchains, or if they are more vulnerable or anything like that. This is all remain to be seen. And also, they've seen a great growth because they're being, in a way, first to market. Okay, so their main selling points, apart from being these communities that I was describing before, is that they're fast and they're cheap. Okay, so how are they going to react when there are communities that are fast, cheap, and more secure than they are? So I still think that Solana will do well because they're a good project. You know, you got to start thinking yourself though: is it fairly valued or not? And that's a kind of like a different kind of conversation, because one thing is investing in Solana at $10. One thing is investing in Solana at $200 that they are now. And you know, and that's a conversation to have. You're thinking, where are we going to be in 2 years' time? Is Solana going to be bigger than Ethereum? Because if you're investing in it now, hoping for it to go to, you know, 3 or 4 times as high as it is at the moment, then you are thinking basically Solana will get bigger than Ethereum. So if that's what you believe and you've done your research, let's, you know, go ahead and do it and invest in it. I am kind of like a little bit more cautious on Solana at these price levels. Obviously, it's still a very good project. Both Solana and you know, FTX are also a very good exchange, and they are innovating very quickly. But I just warn you, just have a little bit of caution and trying to see, this is, I mean, generally, guys, the reason why I talked about this as well is that because we're looking at this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, okay? So start looking at things, not so much for how much money they can make you in the next week or the next month, but start looking at it as, you know, where they could be in a year or 2 years time, because these are the kind of like generational kind of gains that will change your life. You know, trying to, it would be, I've got to be honest, I missed Solana as kind of like an investment, because I always thought it was a little bit too overhyped. So I invested in other projects, and you know, it's been great. If you invested in Solana at the start of the year at around $1, then you will be a very happy bunny right now. But you know, I'm trying to look for long-term projects, and so I just warn you, just give you a little bit of word of caution. Okay, it's easy to be attracted, you know, by projects that are going very rapidly, but the last thing you want to do is buy into a project like Solana that's go up, you know, 5 times in a matter of weeks. So kind of like I see in a way like madness to be buying at these levels. But if you're really interested in the blockchain, in Solana as a blockchain, then maybe look into buying some of the projects in the Solana ecosystem rather than the Solana token itself. So have a look at the decentralized finance, the DEXs, the NFT projects on Solana, and you know, and look at some of those that maybe provide a better investment opportunity than Solana at the moment. Okay. Any more questions? No, Duncan, you know, I know exactly how you're feeling about Solana. And sometimes, you know, when you are in this space and you're investing in cryptocurrencies, you know, you have to be ready as well to let some go, because you can be there and catching them all at the same time. I mean, and the worst thing you can do is chase projects. You know, once they start mooning, when they start launching and start growing like this, it's very difficult to know when it's a good entry point, when they kind of like they grow vertically without looking back. You know, at the moment they are you know, they are growing, but you know, we can see, for example, today they're having, you know, they kind of like retrace slightly, you know, from, you know, so they've gone down by about 7-8% compared to yesterday. You know, I'm not saying that they're not going to go back and grow to $300, $400, $500, but you know, they probably will over time. I'll just say I'm out at the moment, personally. Okay. Any other questions? Duncan, do you have any questions yourself? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Put me on the spot. Specific questions? Yeah. To just give us an update on, I know that this is kind of almost private information, but we don't have to go into too much depth. You gave us an update on our portfolio for those of us that are in the Done With You club. And I just bought a small amount of all of them. What are your thoughts on that? I'm really into theta at the moment, and that seems to be doing quite well. But I kind of just did the thing that I always seem to do, and I don't know if anybody else gets this feeling that it always happens. I thought I'd picked just the right time to buy $1,000 worth of altcoins, and that was like, you know, 2.5 nights ago, and they all just lost about 15-20% about an hour after I spent my money. Yeah, you know, is it just me that it happens to, or is it just that sod's law?
No, exactly. It just that. I mean, I've seen some videos on Twitter of traders that that were live on Twitter as they got liquidated. And I'll tell you what, it's not nice watching. To be honest with you, kind of like literally, there are people that got up to go to the toilet and came back being liquidated.
You know,
and it
one
was so
thing,
quick. It was so quick. It was just amazing.
and yet again, and it hasn't been that long since the last time. This time, thankfully, I didn't have it in mind that I wanted to sell my coins quickly or anything. I wasn't panicking. But sure enough, I couldn't get onto Binance. I couldn't get onto Coinbase Pro. Just, you know, refresh. And that always seems to happen. And that, without sounding negative, it does make you think that the systems these guys are running aren't really fit for purpose, are they? Because the one thing you need is for it not to crash when things get busy. And they always seem to crash. Or at least, you know, their access becomes restricted or whatever. And those couple of minutes can make a huge difference.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's unfortunate. It's kind of like the volume, you know, and it's the same. It's not that kind of their issue is kind of like as an internet volume issue, you know. And when everybody wants to get on, then you're going to have problems of accessing this thing. But you know, for me, the long term outlook hasn't changed. So you know, although it's you know, they have gone down a lot, then we see that the market is recovering already. So it's not too much of a worry. Theta is a you know, it's a very good project long term. So you know, you're gonna do okay on Theta anyway. But yeah, don't worry too much because yeah, zoom out, Duncan. And okay, just park your thing, close your computer for a few days.
The interesting thing about it for me, Luca, is that as you read more and more about some of these projects, I can't bring to mind the particular ones that you may well do, but I know that some of them are basically involved in updating the infrastructure of the internet. And what I'm reading a lot about is that a lot of the stuff that's run by Google and the big companies, it's starting to get quite antiquated now. And this is why, you know, big websites have capacity issues and things like that. So it's kind of fitting, isn't it, that hopefully at some time in the near future, some of these tech companies will repair that situation, and then the exchanges that we're all buying and selling their coins on will actually work for us properly.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the difference also between having centralized servers doing something and have kind of a decentralized, because we all have spare capacity in all our computers. We all have spare capacity on our internet, for example, and that can be used. And there are many now projects that are looking at utilizing that spare capacity in a way so that we're not relying on a central agent, because it's all, you know, this is what I'm talking about. Blockchain is about eliminating kind of like establishing trust in a different way, in a different protocol. And there are many different applications to that. So it's not just transferring value. That's one application. That also you know, access to the internet itself can be delivered in a different way. I had a question from Daryl here. With the gas fees on Ethereum network, do you think it's better to keep coins on those networks on the exchange wallets rather than transferring? I'm not quite sure about the question. Are you talking about the difference between keeping the coins on an exchange or on a wallet? Is that what you're referring to, Daryl?
Yeah, it's just the cost of transferring those coins into a wallet. Because I mean, some of them are quite exorbitant.
No, exactly. I mean, you can use a website called Gas Now, and that estimates the gas fees of doing transactions on the Ethereum network. And you can, you know, if you need to do some transactions, you know, you can time them with the periods when the network is not as busy and the transactions are lower. But at the moment, they are, you know, the improvement proposal, the 1559 at the beginning of August, hasn't really had the desired effects at the moment on the Ethereum fees. So it was expected, we were expected to see a lower fees on Ethereum, but it hasn't really materialized. It stayed pretty much the same. The only difference it has had is that now there is Ethereum being burnt with every block. So you know, the Ethereum itself is becoming a scarcer. So, or at least with a diminishing inflation compared to what we had a month ago. But apart from that, is it is expensive at the moment to have transactions on Ethereum. So we're talking about before is, is it worth it or not transferring things out? It really depends on, you have to make a decision in terms of how much you need to transfer. And if it is a small position, you're talking maybe a couple of $100 or something like this, then, I kind of like difficult to justify if you have to pay maybe $25, $30 to move them out, and then you have to pay the same when you have to move them back onto exchange if you want to sell them. It doesn't really make sense for small positions. But if you had position maybe of, $2,000 or $3,000, then, that as a percentage, because the commission, the fee is the same, so as a percentage of the amount that you transfer is a lot smaller, then it makes sense. But this is a kind of like a decision that you have to make, and thinking, sometimes, you might say up to this level, I will keep a position on the exchange, and above this level, I transfer them onto cold storage. Or then you can connect it to fees. You say, I want to transfer this, I'm happy to pay up to this level of fees, and wait for fees to go back, to be quieted, to go back to the level that you're willing to pay. But it is unfortunately, it's there are still all these issues with crypto. They are not, sometimes it's not that easy to use, and there are things like this that should be straightforward. Unfortunately, are not. And that's the issue sometimes of dealing with the blockchain. But also at the same time, this is where the opportunity is, because when things are difficult, then it means there is more opportunity to get an advantage on people that haven't really got into it, because it's complicated. So you can see it is a problem, but it's also an opportunity. So see from both ways. Okay, Anna, I'll send you an email at the end of the call. Okay, so we can book a call. No problem. I'll have to create some space for you. Okay, are there other questions? Come on, are you all experts right now? I'm sure you got some doubts.
I noticed that Coinbase have announced that for UK account holders, they're now, I think you have to have had your account for a couple of months, but they're now offering £150,000 guarantee on your balance if anything goes wrong. I haven't read the small print though, and I'm just wondering how are they going to cover the rest of my money? But no, that's what I've been emailed about, 150 grand guarantee, so that should cover me, I think, just about.
For the UK, I haven't seen that actually. So that would be the same guarantee that you have in the United States. Actually, it's quite. I mean, it'd be quite interesting, because that would be a higher guarantee than you have on the UK bank accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see, because in the bank accounts you're limited to £85,000 as a guarantee. So we'll see. It will be interesting, because I think there are more. We find that the banking sector and the crypto sector are starting to come together, with banks offering crypto services, and with crypto exchanges trying to have kind of a banking licenses. So it's interesting to see this, because Kraken has already got partial banking licenses as well. And there are kind of we're starting to see a kind of a division between the regulated exchanges and ones that are a little bit more unregulated. And the regulated exchanges are really Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, and others like Binance are still on the unregulated side at the moment, although they're starting to put more resources on the compliance side, because they're having issues in many different countries in the world. But obviously Binance is the bigger one, so this is the one that everybody's attacking if they want to slow down the transfer of money from the fiat system to the crypto system. You go for the biggest possible target. So expect to see more stuff thrown at Binance possible, but that doesn't really stop them, because crypto spot trading is unregulated, so they can stop them doing things like in parts of their business, but they cannot stop their business completely. So now I still have for example, I still use Binance as my main crypto exchange. But then if I need to transfer money in or out, instead of doing it directly on Binance, I'll do it on another exchange and then transfer crypto onto Binance. So it's just making it a little bit more difficult, really, but it's not really stopping anyone. Okay. And I say, I'm just such a beginner that I can't even ask. But this why I say, just that we open to all questions. And if you have beginners question, like how do I do X, perfectly happy to answer anything, because sometimes people are maybe be worried about asking beginner questions, but they are valuable for people that maybe are too proud to ask. Okay. Vladimir, thank you very much. Again, yeah, you're very right, Duncan. So no such thing as a silly question. Okay, so let me know, guys, if you have any other questions. I'm perfectly happy to stay a little bit longer. But if you're all like satisfied that you had enough for one day, then we can we can then give ourselves an appointment to next week. For those of you that are on my program, the yearly program, we have a session on Monday. So I'm going to send you an email. It's the same link that we used last time, by the way, but I'm going to send you a reminder today with the link. And there's quite a lot of stuff that we'll be carrying on Monday. So be ready. Be ready to come on Monday. There's a lot going on. Okay. Fantastic. Okay then. I will say goodbye for today. And Duncan, if you could have a little conversation offline, actually, there's something that I needed to ask you, if you don't mind. If you got 5 minutes, literally, it's just going to be 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
fuck.
Okay.
Luca, I would also like 2 questions. If you could please send me again the information how I can access the content of our micro school of the start. The wonderful start teaching and content that you gave us. And I'm not sure how to access that. I would like to have it at the easiest possible with the link in my mail, because via GeniusU, I always experience as a sort of a get around. So I wonder, it's a bit slow on my computer. If there would be a way to access that content sort of directly, I would be happy. And else I would like to know again how to do it on GeniusU.
Okay, yeah, I'll kind of enroll Duncan for the GeniusU side of it.
Sure.
You probably know better than me on that.
All the recordings they're all still in the micro school where we started. So you only have to go back to that micro school. The link I'm just dropping there into the chat. Anybody who was on the micro school can access it via that link, and you just go to that link. You must remember to scroll down to the bottom of the page and click start. That's the only thing that can trip you up, because if you try and click directly through to the steps to look at the videos without having clicked start, it won't work. So just go to that link, go to the bottom, click start, and then you'll see that under each step is the video for that day. There are 4 videos, 4 steps. I think that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
So please try that, and if you have any problems, you know where to find me. Duncan@geniusu.com.
Yeah, this is the thing that stops some people as well. Just you have to click on that, and then at the end of each video, or if you want to scroll down to the next one, then go to the bottom and click on next, and that will.
I'm not suggesting that's what Cornelia's challenge is, but an awful lot of people do seem to be somewhat reluctant to scroll down to the bottom of the page, which I always think is quite important when you're looking at the page on the screen. Like I said, I don't think that's what you've done, Cornelia. You probably haven't got the link and click through, but when you do, go to the bottom and click start, and it will be there for you. And if you have any problems, just let
Thanks,
me know.
Duncan. I'll try.
Just Cornelia, if you could let me know, if you could try and let me know if you can access it that way, because that's probably the easiest way, and you can see them in order. And you can also, for each day, you have the relevant files that you can download as well. They're all there. Otherwise, let me know and I'll send you direct links.
And now I'll answer Annie's question, which is where are the recordings from the first session of the yearly program? And I will take the opportunity to remind everybody, recordings of calls are in the libraries of the circles, always in the library of the circle. So have you got access and the link to Luca's private circle for the private community?
I'm not sure.
I think I have, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yes, you definitely have, because it was in the welcome email. So we got all the links are in there.
Then it is as I said, I am not sure. Probably it is, because Luca is so precise, I can't.
Yeah.
So whenever you join a program or a community, any program or any community on GeniusU, everything to do with that program or that community is always in the circle. And so maybe you don't get the link, but whoever welcomes you should give you the link. And then just to recap, in a circle, I won't share my screen because my connection's really low, but in a circle, you've got tabs at the top. The important tabs to remember are any degrees, such as we were just talking about, where do I find the micro school or the micro course? It's always under the degrees tab. Any recordings will be under the files. So I'm just going to drop here, Annie, so you don't have to look for it. There's the link for Luca's private circle. So you can only access that if you're part of the private community. Go into there, go into the files, and you'll find the recordings that you can watch.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome. Any more?
No, I think that will do. I wish I had more time in the day, so there was more up with everyone in the group. But things will get better. No worries. Nice to see you, everyone. Thank you, Luca. Wish you a very nice day.
Thanks again. See you next week.
Okay, you're very welcome.
See you Monday.
Great. You all have a great day. Great day too. See you on Monday for those of you that are on the program. Okay then. Goodbye, everyone. See you next week on the Crypto Hour.